But in verse 7, we see how devastating wrong believing really is. It says, now that their eyes were open, Adam and Eve believe that they need to be covered up. They are panicked about how people see them. Their first concern of everything, now that they have this different sight, is covering up. They frantically break down a fig tree for its leaves. Now, this is really sad for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's no one else in the garden, so who are you covering up for? But that's what we do when we believe wrong. We make up stories in advance for why we don't have what we think other people expect us to have. I used to do it. I remember once I had a car repossessed. I had this entire story about how there was something wrong with the car and the dealer took it back, so I just decided to get an older one. Yeah, I know. Nothing takes more energy than covering up. Most of the time, people either already know you're struggling or are focused on their own issues too much to care. The second thing that is wrong with their believing and what makes their believing so sad is that God told them to take care of everything in the garden, and here they are tearing up one of his precious trees just because they are ashamed. Never let your problems keep you away from your purpose. That's like adding insult to injury. Don't stop what God asked you to do because you made a mistake. That's like quitting your job because you're embarrassed that you came back from lunch 5 minutes late. There's still work to be done. Your purpose is bigger than your problems. Your destiny didn't stop because you made a few bad decisions. But seriously, look at all the energy this takes up. The Bible says they sewed fig leaves together. They were so ashamed that they invented sewing. You gotta be really embarrassed that you invent something to cover up what you did. I guess that's called lying, but that gets invented a few verses later. I'm being shady, but isn't it interesting that they made aprons? They covered up the parts of them that were responsible for reproduction. They covered up the parts of themselves that were important to God's purpose for them, to be fruitful and multiply. Don't let your problems keep you from your purpose.